Welcome to Bollywood with Chris. My name is Chris. I'll be your host for this. And here's my team. Alright, so this is going to be kind of a double video. What we have is we actually have two parts to this. Firstly, we're going to talk about how you present resolutions, then we're going to talk about how you vote on resolutions. Okay, so let's start with how you present them. So you would write your resolutions, you send them into your chair or your dais, they review it a few times, expect some edits, they'll send it back to you, they'll give you the thumbs up to actually present it. At that point you would motion to present it. So you'd say motion to present. At this point it's not a resolution, it's a working paper. So motion to present working paper, and whatever designation you get, usually number, might be a letter, working paper A. And the chair would usually typically say that is in order, you'd vote on it just like anything else, just like a moderated caucus or whatever it be, and you'd present it. So all the sponsors, or depending on the chair, a few sponsors might get up to the front and they'll present it. They'll read it out. Typically speaking, these resolutions will be typed by the chairs. If we're really on a tight time crunch, if this is the last topic, we might not have time to actually type it up, so you might just be reading it off of your handwritten, whatever it might be. If you have it pre-typed, read it off your laptop, whatever you want to do, you present it. So we read through it. Sometimes you'll skip preamble. Again, that's up to the discretion of the chair. This kind of thing is just kind of, you get up, you read it, you go through it, you go over it. That's it. You don't really want to spend too much time explaining it, unless the chair just kind of says, okay, well, we don't even have time to read it, so just explain the gist of it, okay? Typically speaking, you'll just read through it really quickly, then you wait. That's the end of the first step. At this point, there's one of two things that can happen, alright? So the first thing that can happen is the chair can ask, or say they're in favor of having a question and answer period in which someone would have to motion for that. It's just like a moderated caucus. However, what they're going to do is they're going to ask you questions. Sponsors will stay up and they'll ask you questions related to your resolution. This is typically 3 minutes to 5 minutes in length. There's a speaking time, just like a moderated caucus, typically about 30 seconds. This 30 seconds only refers to the amount of time that you get to speak. So they really only get to ask one question, the chair should see to that. You get 30 seconds to reply to their question, typically speaking anyways. And we'll go over it. You might have a few more question and answer periods. Typically what happens in a MUN conference is that we'll have one, the chair will see if there's a good reason to continue with this, if delegates are asking good questions or they're just kind of wasting time. From there would either rule another question and answer period out of order or allow another one to happen. You typically speaking, again, like a moderated caucus, 5 to 10 minutes, that's an absolute max. You're not going to get any more question and answer time than that. Alright, from there you can make amendments, you can do more unmods, you can work on it again, you can resubmit it, whatever it might be. Then you get to the voting step, which is also what you could have done. You could have skipped that entire question and answer thing completely, alright? So you would motion to enter voting block, okay? What happens in voting block is essentially the topic is almost basically tabled, alright? So this is usually what the chair likes to have at the end, unless you have a lot of resolutions, the chair will do some and then you'll come back out. Typically speaking though, once you enter voting block, you're not really discussing the topic anymore, alright? Once you enter voting block, you can't leave the room, okay? Doors will be barred by the chair, or by the pages. So technically speaking, in the real UN, they actually lock the doors, they bar the doors, no one's allowed in or out, okay? There's no more note passing, no talking, everyone's stuck to their seats, okay? Everyone has to, get their own vote, alright? And this is where your president and voting, they said at the beginning of the committee, really matters, right? Because this is what you can abstain from and what you can't abstain from. Keep that in mind. Anyways, you would motion to enter voting block. If the chair sees that that's the right course of action, then the chair would allow it, the committee would vote on it. If it passes, you're now entered voting block. Doors are barred, no entrance and no exit, no more note passing, no more talking, in your seats, alright? And then the chair would say, are there any other points or motions on the floor at this time? From there, you would be able to have a few options for how you would like to vote. Essentially, you can vote by placard, which is the simple majority, it's just like every other voting. You need 2/3 majority to pass this. As a resolution, you need 2/3 of the committee to pass this. So you can vote just by placard, you can vote by roll call, Don't do that. Alright, that's basically how you do roll call at the beginning, A to Z, all the countries, calling them out, and they have to say yes, no, abstain, whatever it might be. Alright, and then there's also, there's a few others. I think there's voting by acclamation, which is saying that if there are no dissenters, the chair will ask that 3 times, that automatically passes. So, are there any motion to vote by acclamation? And the chair says that's in order. By the way, you have to vote for all of these too. So, motion to vote by acclamation, then everyone has to vote for it. You need a simple majority to pass that motion before you can say, okay, the chair will say, are there any dissenters? Are there any dissenters? Are there any dissenters? And if no one dissents, then it automatically passes. Alright? So again, this is kind of confusing. It's a really bureaucratic step. Let's say there's a lot of steps involved with this actual voting and passing the resolution part. So you motion to enter voting block. Alright, after you motion to enter voting block, there's a number of ways you can actually vote. Most common and the best, probably safest bet, is to vote by placard. That's what most people will do. Alright, then you can also motion for whatever else by roll call, by acclamation. Those also need to be voted on. Those have to be passed, and whatever's passed, then you do that procedure, alright? If it fails, you would exit voting block if there are no more resolutions to be dealt with, and that would be it. Now here's one more thing that you should know. If you have your resolution presented and you have it up on board, you voted on it and it gets voted down, you can actually resubmit that resolution or working paper for consideration, alright? Once it's been struck down, it's been struck down. That should be fairly consistent with most conferences and most committees as well. So I hope that helped how to present resolutions, how the voting process works, alright? And remember, no exit, no entrance, no note passing, no talking. Basically, you have to have your mind pretty much made up. Present and voting is very important. Hope this helped.